Julius Malema said he will protect Putin at all cost. Watch this clip, we'll come back and discuss.
ICC, Putin is welcomed here. And no one is going to arrest Putin. If needs be, we'll go and fetch Putin from the airport to his meeting. He will finish all his meetings. We'll take him back to the airport. We're not going to be told by these hypocrites of the International Criminal Court who know the real violators of human rights, who know the murderers of this world. That former Prime Minister of Tony Blair admitted that they made a horrible mistake when it comes to Saddam Hussein. They've not been charged today. Bush is still there. They've not been charged till to date. And then Obama killed Gaddafi. And then nothing has happened. We're here today with Libya being destroyed and unable to recover because of America. We know very well that where NATO gets involved, those are terrorists. We know very well where the US says we are going in to install peace. That place will never know peace as long as America has visited that place. So we don't want ICC's hypocrisy to apply here in our country. President Putin is welcomed. We know our friends. We know the people who liberated us. We know the people who supported us. In Kutokonaval, the weapons that were used in Kutokonaval that led to the liberation of South Africa were coming from Russia. Russia supplied us with weapons in Kutokonaval. Cuba supplied us with soldiers. MK was drunk.
As you heard, he said, whatever it takes, they are protecting Putin. By them, I believe it's the EFF. He said even if it means they go to the airport and welcome him and take him to all the meetings he needs to get to and bring him back safely. And you can tell he means every word that he is saying. And you know, the ICC wants to arrest Putin. And basically, Malema is saying Putin will be safe in South Africa. Whatever it takes, he's going to be protected. Anyways, fam, what are your thoughts about what Julius Malema is saying? I'm Wingel Zalalem. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off by saying Ka Halayim La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem Harakak Wadash Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles, a great millstone, and my elder Herwan as well. Salutations to the argument that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth. And peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, man. There's a lot of meat in that that video. A lot of prophecies being spoken of in that video. There's a lot of Ezekiel 38. Isaiah 14. I think Jeremiah 50. You know, all in one in that one short 2-minute video. You know, these nations are getting fed up with America and NATO's bullcrap, man. You know, these nations are starting to say, we are strong. Let the weak say that I am strong. Now, what is that, Joel chapter 3 or chapter 2? You know, and this is Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai mustering up the host of the battle. He's mustering these armies up. All right, causing it to rain fire down upon Babylon. You know, and it's a beautiful thing because what's happening is, like, you got all this talk about Trump being arrested and all this kind of other stuff, foolishness, and the whole waving of the hand in the face in the women's college basketball game. All these different things being spoken about, but the real deal, Holyfield, they don't talk about. They don't put on the mainstream media. And you can bet your bottom dollar that pretty soon it's going to be like a big false flag event, you know, distracting the minds of the people, right? Because really, what's really going on? These nations are rising up and raising war against America, against the United States and NATO. Because think about it. Look at all the nations that America has oppressed, right? The hammer of the earth. Right. So with that being said, Slakia, let's go into Isaiah chapter 14, verse 3. And it says, "And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow." Right. So that's why we rejoice when we see these things coming to pass, because we know that's going to ultimately lead to our salvation, man. Right? Because Yahweh Shema Shai spoke of these things from the beginning. All right, and predestined for his elect to be delivered. All right. It says, "And from the fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve." Right. So our bondage, our the fear was taken away by the spirit of Yahweh by Shem Shai. Because he didn't give us the spirit of fear, he gave us the spirit of power and love and of a sound mind. And the mental yoke that was on our people, or on the elect of our people, has been broken. And ultimately, this system is being torn down by Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. All right. It says, verse 4, it says, "That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say," right, and that's what we do, coming against America. "How hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased." Now, you go back to what the guy was talking about in that video. He was saying how America destroyed Venezuela. Who came to help? Russia. How America destroyed Cuba. Who came to help? Russia. When they were fighting the war, who came to help? Russia. And that's right there is explaining Ezekiel 38. And we're going to get to that in a second. But right now, we're talking about the oppression that the West, meaning America and NATO, has done to these other nations. And these other nations are ready to fight back, man. These other nations are not going to bow down to America anymore, man. They're not bowing down to this system. It says, "How hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased." Right. This stuff coming to a halt. These other nations are like, you know what? Forget that. Let's go head to head with America. We have the nuclear arsenal to do so. Yahweh Bashim Shai is building up these other nations to tear down America. It says, verse 5, it says, "The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers," right? And that goes for all these other nations because they think because America's being put down that these other nations are going to rejoice and be glad. But the Lord's going to destroy these other nations too. They're not going to be able to set up no type of system like this again. All right. Lord is breaking all the scepter of the rulers. Verse 6, it says, "He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruleth nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth." Right. Nobody's feeling sorry for America. Everybody's rejoicing that these nations are rising up against America, man. It's like when you see the bully finally get beat up in school. Everybody's happy about that shit. All right. Verse 7, it says, "The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us." Right. So verse 9, it says, "Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming." Right. So all the shit that they started up and set their nest on high, pride lifted them up, and they thought they were never going to see the ground. So all the hell they stirred up on the ground is going to be waiting for them as they fall off their high horse, man. It's going to be these other nations rising up against America, all right? It says, "Even all the chief ones of the earth, it had raised up the kings from their thrones, all the kings of the nations," man. It says, and all they shall, right? So that's what's happening. The kings of these other nations are rising up against America, United States and NATO. Right? It says, verse 10, "And All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we, art thou come like unto us? Right. And that's what you're seeing. They're seeing the weakness of America. They're seeing the strength and the weakness of America. The strength is the dollar. If they collapse the dollar, that's America's weakness, man. And that's what these nations are doing. And those thoughts are being put in their mind by Yahweh, by Shem Yahweh Shai, man. You know, because the king's heart is in the hand of the Most High. You know, get another scripture. And let's get Ezekiel. I think I want to go to Ezekiel 38 real quick. Well, let me get this real quick. Proverbs 21 and 1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. Right. So, right. That's why Yahweh Shem Shai is mustering up the hosts of the battle. He's putting it in these minds of these kings to do what they're doing. You know? All right, so now we can go into Ezekiel 38. Ezekiel 38 and 2, it says, Son of man, set thy face against the land of Magog, and of land of Gog, against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against it. That's Russia, Moscow, and those Eurasian countries over there. Even though Yahweh Shem Shai is stirring them up to come against America, he's still against them too. He's just using them. It's his chess moves, man. That's what the Lord's playing. He's playing chess against everybody. Well, chaturanga against everybody. You know? It says, verse 3, it says, and say, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth. Right. I'll bring thee forth. So they're being turned back into that old Soviet Union, that powerhouse infrastructure that was back in the 80s, 70s and 80s. It says, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with shields and with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, right? Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, right? Iran and Africa, with them, all of them with shields and helmets. So all these nations are going to be joining forces with Russia, to come at the United States. And guess what's going to happen? NATO is going to leave America out to dry. They're going to leave America out to dry. It is what it is. So, the United States is destined for doom, man. The United States is destined for doom. Esau's destined for doom. Then it's the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, setting it up. So we're witnessing our captivity be turned back right before our eyes, man. So we rejoice. That's why, we rejoice when we see these things happening, but they put all these different distractions up there. That's why the men of the Lord needs to dig deep and find out what's really going on and warn the people. Give warning to the elect, and destruction to the 2/3. That's just it. So there you have it. These nations are rising up against America and NATO, joining forces with Russia, because Russia's been doing a lot of protecting, man. With that, Lord, when this lesson was edifying and serve his purpose, that like to say, Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakak Wadash, my mouth. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, and my elder Herawan as well. Salutations to the argument that are pushing the truth to sincerity and truth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.